reminder that there is a questionnaire question paper that is being passed around. I've got a few questions coming in. We have about 30 minutes before we need to finish up for lunch, so please send those in right away. There's one quick question if I could ask all three of you gentlemen, and that would be if you had one particular key bit of advice for a company looking at getting into, especially into ASEAN, and how Hong Kong could play a role in that, what would you offer? Do you want to start? Go.
I think first of all, just like Mr. Song talked about Hong Kong being a leading international financial center, I think that is a very key success factor for anybody trying to expand in the ASEAN region using Hong Kong as a starting as a main place, a base. In terms of the IFC capabilities, there are many. We have been watching the renminbi internationalization, all the opportunities that come with it. We also have talked about IPOs. We can have good companies trying to get listed in Hong Kong or to get a second listing in Hong Kong to tap into the capital market and to facilitate business development in the region. Hong Kong also is an ideal place for having a family office set up here for families that are that have assets, that have businesses to own and to run. Hong Kong is ideal. We don't have any, for example, estate tax. We are free port, so free flow of information, ideas. I think just now we heard an excellent presentation from Mr. Song. I think you're an ideal ambassador for Hong Kong. I don't have to say more, but also it's a great place to do asset management and fund management. Hong Kong now, for example, we have over 1,000 funds of all sorts, types, private and listed from everywhere with a presence in Hong Kong. This is a place for capital, and not just capital, smart capital and ideas. So point one, make full use of Hong Kong's capabilities and positioning as a leading IFC, international financial center in the world, and in the top one in Asia, in my mind. Number two, it's also to make use of Hong Kong as a marketing and business development base. I think this is where we can also say we are international media center. So if you do business in the region and you have a presence in Hong Kong, as Mr. Song said, you can cut down a lot of advertising expenses. This is where all the key stakeholders come and do business. The last point I like to say is right now we are very well positioned as China is very keen on expanding the ties and cooperation with the rest of the region. The 21st Maritime Silk Road Initiative being one example. So I think going forward, Hong Kong will play a very key role, and the next 5-year plan, which is the 13th 5-year plan of China, will probably be announced next September. You will see more inter-regional and intra-regional cooperation and investment. And I hope Hong Kong next year will join the ASEAN Economic Community to add to that initiative successfully. Last point is that we are situated in the best geographical location. Hong Kong is really within 4 hours from Hong Kong. We have the most important economic zone in the whole world. I think Hong Kong is right at the middle of the eventually 60% or even 2/3 of the GDP of the economic impact of the whole world. So this is perfect location, very blessed, and in the middle of probably the largest and most exciting and vibrant and productive and hopefully enjoyable mega cities, and that is the greater Pearl River Delta. Now with all the infrastructure and also in the upcoming further optimizing of all the linkages, Hong Kong is undoubtedly the capital of this, in my own mind, this mega city, super mega city called Greater Pearl River Delta, with 100 million people, great consumers, innovative and entrepreneurial in every aspect. And hopefully we can do a great job in making it green and sustainable as well. More importantly, make it global, not just for our own enjoyment, but for the rest of the region and for the world. Thank you.
Joe, when you're looking to invest or do business in the emerging Asian part of the world, ASEAN, where we're focusing, one of your biggest risks is your counterparty risk. You really need to know whom you're dealing with. Now, when Aquino became president of the Philippines 4 years ago in 2010, he ran on a very strong anti-corruption platform. At that time, the Philippines was number, I think, 129 on Transparency International's corruption index. So that meant there are 128 countries less corrupt than the Philippines. Now, 4 years later, he's pushed the ranking up to about 97. So it's a bit less risky to do business in that country. But if you look elsewhere in ASEAN, no one can say it's as easy to do business as it is in Hong Kong. So offshore as much of your counterparty risk as you can. Bring as much of that here to Hong Kong as you can. Find a counterparty who's got businesses and assets here in Hong Kong, and then you'll find that he is going to be more obliged to be trustworthy. And I think if you're doing that, because moving into these young, fast-growing markets is extremely risky, and if you can take this step to minimize your risk, it'll be a big step indeed.
All right.
I think Hong Kong, being a foreigner in here, when you come here, obviously everybody knows the politicals is very stable, transparent. I think more important when you come to Hong Kong in here, you must see the dynamic behind Hong Kong other than the people itself. The business itself, you have to see the dynamic of the business itself. Like, for example, Hong Kong is not well known for technology. Okay, I personally can see, look, you all heard about Alibaba. And I think eventually what you call O2O business will slowly develop in Hong Kong. Because obviously this is a better place for them to develop because of the social environment in here, laissez-faire system in here. They will develop here. What I'm trying to say is come to Hong Kong, see the dynamic of Hong Kong. Go down, not necessarily you have to be to have a business, but come to visit Hong Kong more often, see the dynamic of the business activity in here. Another thing that I would like to share with you, in Hong Kong, if you want to tap the market in China, it's a huge market. Like, for example, my business. Until now, I've been in this business for 16 years. I'm still not able to invest my own lounge in China. Why? Because the system itself not allowed me to invest. But does it mean that I have to be out of the business or out of the circle? No. I've been patient. I've been patient in here. And anytime they call me, any airport authority call me to help, to give them consultancy service, I provide them a free consultancy service. It just, you have to be in the ring of the circle of the business. So patience will pay, because can you imagine, okay, such a huge population, and the growth of the aviation industry is such a tremendous in China. How can I not doing business in China? But now, presently, the system is not there. But I believe one day I will penetrate them. I don't think I've been patient for last more than 10 years already. I'm sure one day maybe next 1 or 2 years, see me again, if I have a chance, I will tell you that my flat is already in China. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I have a question from the floor, which is related to what John was talking about and also really what George was talking about, and that's related to risks. George had mentioned that green and sustainability for the region is one of the goals, and John, of course, was talking about some of the risks involved. The question from the floor, dramatic effects of climate change on the minds of many, including those in the ASEAN markets. How does climate change and those concerns impact your view of the future of opportunities across ASEAN? John, you want to start?
Our biggest shareholder in First Pacific is an Indonesian man. He's got many other investments apart from First Pacific, and one area he focuses quite intensely on are the economic and social consequences of a warming planet. Outside First Pacific, he invests quite a bit into agriculture. Through our holdings, he's invested in palm oil and increasingly in sugar, first in Indonesia, then Brazil, more now into the Philippines. Essentially, what he would like to do is increase his exposure, our exposure, to food supply and food needs and agriculture needs in the years ahead. And one corollary of this is that he's focusing on the palm tree industry as a potential source of biofuels. Now, with oil prices at 4-year lows this week, that's not a concern for today. But in the future, he wants to be prepared for a hotter temperature, meaning food and water security are going to be much more difficult.
George, you can answer that.
This is a great question and topic. I think we are all students and participants in this mega trend of getting more green and sustainable. I think many opportunities actually. Of course, the challenges are many, but let me focus on opportunities instead. One is the use of gas instead of just the traditional fossil fuel and coal and so on. So in the future, you can see examples such as LNG, liquidated natural gas, and gas in general is a huge sector. And how to actually develop better software and system, for efficiency in distribution of power. I think the whole of Asia is hungry for power, and of course power is a key indicator of economic growth potential. The consumption and the production of power is strategic to any country in the region. So how do we do it right? That is a big business opportunity, including nuclear. The safety issue is paramount, but you can argue that the technology is there, but how to do it right, and what is the right balance. And all the other is all about this governance issue, how to have most effective allocation of our resources, and then the teamwork among countries in terms of carbon emission control reduction. You can see the recent APEC meeting in China with the US and China moving one step further to the right direction for the whole world, and the policy commitment in China to make sure they can see blue sky. So I can see lots of opportunities in terms of applying technology and sharing technology. So I really look forward to the US and the EU being more generous and more strategic in transferring some of the very best technology, particularly those suitable for Asia, earlier, more generously, because this is for the benefit of the world. And I'm sure Asia will pay for it. Otherwise, we will have to develop it ourselves. So, because necessity is the mother of all invention and innovation. So I really hope that there's a tremendous synergy here for the benefit of a better planet. One last point is I think in the investment community, in the banking community, we have an increasingly strong movement towards a so-called responsible investing. So we hope through our practice in terms of both spirit and actual actions, we will channel more capital into projects that can add to the sustainability of the whole place. Thank you.
Risk is on the minds of many of the delegates, because another question I've got here is related to the political systems in various countries around the region. Given your perspective from being based in Hong Kong, would you have any advice, I guess, for how do you deal with the variety of political stability, the variety of systems around the region? Song, you've mentioned a bit about this. Maybe you could start out.
My experience of, I'm sure all of you can anticipate the problem that to penetrate airports. Actually, in a lot of people perception, airport is like gold mine. When you go to airport, you think you will make a lot of money. And then plus also in the airports, less developed countries, a lot of colonialisms happening. So you look most of the airport, which is less developed, you go there, you see all the concessions, some of them you know is related to somebody related to somebody, to get it. Okay, it is always happened that way, and those other airports would never come out. And in order to go into this kind of airport, we face a lot of challenges. At some of the airport, I don't want to mention which airport, they came to me and say, hey, look, I can give you this area, you have to pay me table money, tea money. I said, forget about it. I'm bringing a new concept to enhance your airport, to increase the value-added service in the airport. Why should I pay this kind of money? But obviously, my company definitely goes against all those things. We not even want to think about it, because we're bringing a new concept. That these are challenges that I'm facing. There's one thing. These obviously related to political challenges as well. And it is not easy. It's not easy. And plus also because my nature of my business, when I go in, I require at least minimum 5,000 square foot area. Can you imagine a mature airport? Okay, the area is limited. There's already allocated area. In order to give you carve out 5,000, 6,000 square foot minimum is very challenging. So you have to spend a lot of time trying to convince them, tell them, talk to them, okay, to change their mind. I'm sorry to say that a lot of airport authority, they are semi-government. I'm sorry if I offend anybody in here. They are not prepared to change. They are not prepared to adapt new concept, because they may retire after 2 or 3 years. Why should they change? Why should they take a new idea, a new concept? So these are the challenges I'm facing to penetrate airport. But you look at the airport I'm now present moment. Those are very dynamic airport. Those are the best airport in the world. They know they need changes. They know they need new idea, new concept, new services. That's why I'm able to penetrate those airports.
We have a question that's coming from one of the U.S. Association delegates, and this is directed at George, but I think actually John can answer this one as well. You're mentioning different needs from countries like Myanmar, Cambodia, and others regarding power, telecom, other sectors. What is the attitude that you see in terms of readiness to receive foreign direct investment, or are those opportunities pretty much reserved for local or well-connected cooperations or corporations then?
From our perspective, looking at potential investments in these smaller, less wealthy ASEAN nations, we've got an office in Myanmar, for example. It seems really, if you want to invest and help, say, build up the telephone network or the electricity distribution system in some of these countries, George mentioned electricity in Cambodia earlier, you really will need to have a domestic partner, one who's got very good connections with the authorities. And there are a good couple of reasons for this. One is it will significantly reduce your risk. It will open up new possibilities for you. In the Philippines, there's a constitution with Article 34, which says a foreign investor may not own more than 40% of a key asset to the economy, such as the biggest phone company in the country. Many countries which are less developed than what we see in Hong Kong and in the EU and North America have a very strong nationalism towards national assets. They're nervous of the idea of foreigners controlling the media, controlling the phone system, controlling the electricity. So you have no choice but to go in with a domestic partner, or you're not going to go in at all. But the flip side of that coin for you is, once you've got that partner, and if it's someone you can trust, you're going to be able to make that investment, and you'll have a certain amount of security in it that you would not otherwise have.
Excellent. From my partner here, I may add, and that is to ride on the G2G linkage, because government to government, that helps in terms of policy understanding and regulations, the right ones for your enterprise, your investment to be secure, to be safe, to prosper. The other thing is, apart from the partners, critical, I think we have to find the best executives and directors to look after the asset, to grow the asset. Because normally you have the capital, but not the human capital, which is the executive capital. That is really key. Another point is the fact that we will be a stakeholder. For example, I use two examples. One is Vietnam, the other Indonesia. In Vietnam, we have lots of bauxite, but no factory to produce aluminum, and not enough rail and port facilities to export. In China, in Guangxi, lots of factories and skills and experience, money, infrastructure, everything, but no bauxite. So how do we combine the two? And I'm talking about value creation, win-win value creation, and also helping each other. Vietnam probably will take time to actually get to the sophistication of China aluminum in terms of expertise and management. But at least they will have a plan to do the processing, the initial processing, so that there's some value created for local employment and for foreign exchange creation, and for the transport cost to be cut down, because the processed bauxite is much easier to transport, for example. So we're talking about value creation, win-win, interest alignment, and finally, Indonesia, for example, lots of nickel, but how do we do the same so that they can be used in the shipbuilding industry in China, for example, for steel production, special steel production, etc. And that takes this alignment. So I think the final point is about being a stakeholder. We have to be seen as a good investor. We have to be seen as a welcome member of the local community. And so it's important to have the right policy and also the people to execute in terms of at both the governance and the management and operation level in order to make any investment.
Vegetarian, etc. How do you accommodate for that? Again, given the wide variety of markets you're going to be operating in.
Okay, let me answer the later question first. Regarding the food in the lounge, I'm sure that one of the 4 factors which I always promote in the lounge is, first obviously is the facilities that you build, and also hardware. The second is the hardware. The third is the services, and fourth is the food. It's very important. A lot of people go to the lounge and have a food as well. Many occasions, obviously, North America is still very far away in terms of these lounge services, because you only have peanut and potato chips in your lounge. Okay, hot food is very, very, very hard to come about, to be frank. And obviously now we are the first one in the world to introduce hot food. And like I said, our vision become the leaders in the market. We keep on changing, understand the customer requirement, and we have to change fast to be the leaders in the markets. Okay, recently, I'm sure all of you go to the lounges. Most of the lounges that you enjoy is the food that you can get in the, even you can get in hotel hotels, in the five-star hotels, but we find that it is not interesting. So recently what we introduced, what we call local street food into the lounge. Okay. Can you imagine if you go to the lounge, if you happen to leave Hong Kong, you go to my lounge, you can have what we call fishball soups, noodles, which is very, very famous in my lounge. A lot of people even give up the airline lounge, come to my lounge because they want the fishball noodle soup. You may laugh at it, but this is a true fact. It's happening. Because you know why? Being a tourist, you may not have a chance to try a local street food. We bring the local street food into the lounge. That's what you want, right? You come to Hong Kong. You're not going to want to eat the five-star hotel food where you can get all over the world. So you have to understand the psychology of the psychology and needs of the customer. That's very important. And another question is talking about starting up in US. Yeah, just now you saw the map. We nearly cover in Canada. We have in Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg. Okay, we hopefully after we cover Canada, we're going to start move down to United States. So anybody in here have sort of a good connection who is interested in the business of the lounge, I'm available. I can give you my name cards. We can talk about it. That's what you are here for, anyway.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. It is lunchtime, time for some networking and getting together. Thank you very much to all our guests. Please give them a round of applause.